Now, at a time when many Americans were hiding Easter eggs on Sunday morning, the president dropped a few goose eggs about our broken immigration system, going on a lengthy Twitter rant, which read, in quote, Border Patrol agents are not allowed to properly do their job at the border because of ridiculous liberal Democrat laws like catch and release. Getting more dangerous. Caravans coming. Republicans must go to nuclear option to pass tough laws now. No more DACA deal. Well, that is certainly a mouthful. The president also trashed the Mexican government for doing very little, if nothing, about the flow of illegal immigrants into our country and drugs, of course. He also threatened to end NAFTA if they don't start helping out down there. He followed up today with another rant demanding funding for a border wall, urging Congress to, quote, act now because our country is being stolen. But who's really to blame for this DACA dust-up? My candy-coated, peep-approved party panel joins me now. She's a correspondent for the Greg Gutfeld Show. Kat Timpf is here, along with comedian and best-selling author Jimmy Failla and Republican strategist Noelle Nikpour, rounding out a wonderful Monday night party panel. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Noelle, I will start with you because I think the president here actually has a point. It's one thing to talk about spending billions and billions of dollars building a wall. It's another thing to say, hey, Mexico, guess what? A border has two sides. How about doing your share?
Absolutely. And, you know, that's part of the problem. You know, with an influx of immigrants coming over here, they're just pouring leaps and bounds coming over here. Now, when you had him threaten the wall, we saw a decrease in people coming for a while. But I'll tell you, Mexico does have to do their part. It's their people, and they should do their part.
Okay, so if we had a bunch of people coming from El Salvador and Honduras and Guatemala, and they were on their way to Mexico, or sorry, on their way to Canada, wouldn't we open our northern border and say, nope, keep going, whee,
go do your thing,
head
man.
on up? I mean, you can understand where Mexico's coming from because they're having a lot of problems of their own.
Yeah, of course, and that's what they've become, like a bad third base coach. They're just sending every runner into America, whether they think they're going to make it or not. But I think the president's right to speak out on this because, in reality, I think he knows the Democrats don't care about these people. They're using them. They'd rather campaign on DACA.
No, they said they won't be used as a bargaining chip. I heard that myself.
That's what they said, and then they left. They walked away from the deal over border funding, which is bananas because nobody cares about spending in this Congress, Republican or Democrat. Everyone in Congress is basically me after 2 a.m. on a Friday night at an ATM machine, just shelling out for anything they can. And like for real, like Johnny Depp is more fiscally conservative than this Congress. So I think it's ridiculous.
No, that's absolutely true. And you know, I'll be bold enough to say this on TV. Johnny Depp has a spending problem.
He's going to go out on a limb.
You heard it here. You heard it here. So Mexico, Acapulco, former tourist beacon of glory and fun, has now turned into a murder zone. And there are warring drug factions in tourist areas of Mexico, and they're taking hostages, and they're killing tourists, and it's become such an untenable situation because of the ongoing drug war. So what can we do on our end to mitigate the drug violence in Mexico?
Well, I think that what we should do to keep it from coming here would be legalize the drug war here. Yeah. So that way, if everything was legal here, we wouldn't have all these cartels coming in.
Well, that's part of the issue is because marijuana is legal and plentiful now in 29 states, plus the District of Columbia. There is a lot of marijuana on the market, so now they're competing for fewer resources, and now they're trying to supply us with more heroin.
Right, so we should just legalize heroin.
We should legalize everything.
Yeah,
and that way people know what they're getting in their drugs, and they stop ODing from fentanyl.
And then we won't have the gangs and all the crime that comes with it.
And these countries in Central America specifically who are controlled by drug gangs and who are the victims of drug violence and murder. You were going to say something.
No, I was not. Absolutely.
You were going to agree with
the
hyper-rationalism.
I was going to disappear since I'm GOP strategist, and this will haunt me if I say something for the rest of my life.
If we do the show properly, that is absolutely true.
You're awesome.
All right, President Trump had more than one target in his Twitter tirade this morning for the third time in the past 5 days. He has attacked Amazon, tweeting, "Only fools or worse are saying that our money-losing post office makes money with Amazon. They lose a fortune, and this will be changed." Also, our fully tax-paying retailers are closing stores all over the country, not a level playing field. The president has accused the online retail giant of taking advantage of the USPS, but federal regulators say Amazon pays the exact same rate that other bulk shippers do. And while the Postal Service has been losing money for years, package delivery is not the reason. Political analysts suggest the president is going after Amazon because the company's founder, Jeff Bezos, also owns the Washington Post, a paper that's been very critical of the president and his administration. So, Jimmy, pensions, health care, and a decline in first-class letters.
Yes.
That is what's hurt the post office.
Absolutely.
Not to mention, this is a public entity.
Yeah.
The president is not making a good antitrust argument. The president is making a great argument for why we should privatize the Postal Service.
There it is, and pay for everything by creating a Trump dunk tank. Don't you think this could work?
A Trump tank,
If
sure.
you put Trump on the White House front lawn once a year, $10, you get 3 balls, you get to dunk Trump in the water. People are paying for that.
We would have
Coming
a rash of Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah, just for Hillary alone. Hillary's elbow would be hanging. She'd be hanging alone. You're like, miss, can you let somebody else throw a ball? We got to get in here already. But no, he's making a good point in that I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to this. But I think if you do privatize the post office, you can get a lot of the inefficiency out of the bureaucracy, and then you might be able to survive a Saturday trip to the post office. Like I was unable to do this Saturday. I was at the post office for 40 minutes to get a book of stamps because they didn't have an ATM machine. I was mailing something to New Jersey, Kat Timpf. I could have drove to New Jersey.
Yeah,
and the time it took me to buy stamps at the post office.
Exactly right. I mean, the post office is not losing billions of dollars because of Amazon. The post office is losing billions of dollars because it's the post office that is beholden to unions, and they're poorly run, and they're not set up to make a profit. Amazon is, and they've figured out the cheapest way of doing things is by going through the post office, which is pretty brilliant on their account.
Right. Plus, I love Amazon. I think it's fantastic. It's how I survive. Amazon Prime. I am a shut-in now, which is very, very nice. I even got a coat rack off of it. I did build it upside down, but they do have coat racks even. It's not just paper towels and kitty litter. They got
all the coats just slide off onto the floor.
I have to kind of drape them over because I did it the wrong way. You know, I'm not gifted in that way, but at least I had the opportunity to fail. But this isn't really about Amazon. This is just a personal thing.
Yeah,
for
there's
Trump.
no
It's about Bezos. It's
for
personal.
Bezos.
I don't know.
It's about Jeff Bezos, and I think that, you know, he drew attention by the Washington Post. This is the Washington Post and Trump retaliating. Why? Because he can. So they have zeroed in on Amazon and Jeff Bezos. I think the first mistake he made was, you know, getting front and center with Washington Post. I think he's actually moved to Washington.
I mean, the Washington
DC.
Post, to their defense, says he has absolutely no influence.
Well, that's where he's going to aim the deal. And you know what? Amazon has the power to move the market. You know, they really can move the market. They're part of the FANG stocks, and, you know, they're watched constantly. They've moved into the healthcare sector, and a lot of people are looking at Amazon, a lot of the brick and mortar, which is kind of the
If
base.
I can get healthcare as efficiently as I get my silicone swim cap,
That's funny.
I am all for it. If they can Amazon Prime
Can you
a
imagine,
prostate
though?
exam,
Like, yeah, your prostate
Jim?
exam will be here in 5 days or 3 if you have
I
Prime.
think that's the future.
No, I want to go.
I think that's the future. There's no reason anyone should ever leave their home.
Well, they are a job creator by, you know, they have created jobs, but they've also taken jobs. So it's a twofold answer. There's no clear-cut answer on this because they've provided and created a lot of jobs through Amazon.
But in
they've
a
also
tertiary
closed
economy,
brick and
what
mortar
do you
stores.
want? You want service. They provide it.
That's right.
Much to be discussed with the panel. They are returning in just a little bit. First up, however, we're going to talk about that trade war. The Chinese have responded to President Trump's tariffs by slapping their own damn taxes on more than 100 American goods imported to China. So can the president's plan work? And who loses in that trade war? Charles Payne does the math. He's brilliant. He's next. President Trump also expected to meet North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. But until they meet, the president has said he's going to keep up that maximum pressure, and that includes today's joint military drill with South Korea. The annual exercises are meant to flex a little muscle in hopes of preventing a North Korean nuclear attack. The North usually reacts angrily to the drills, but according to South Korean officials who met with Kim Jong-un, the rocket man understands the need for the drills and promises, quote, not to raise issue with this. So is this another sign that the president's strategy with the regime is working? The party panel is back. Kat Timpf, Jimmy Failla, Noelle Nikpour. Noelle, I will start with you.
Fabulous.
My dear. it is obvious that this is one area where the president's strengths have all aligned, and with the help of South Korea and kind of the help with a hesitant China, North Korea is coming to the table. And if they, in fact, don't do anything or test any missiles while we're having these joint exercises, that in and of itself is a sign of success, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's a sign of success. And if this president can manage to get North Korea to denuclearize and keep, the tax cuts, people are benefiting, they're having jobs. If he can do all the things that he said that he was going to do on the campaign trail, if he can fulfill all these promises, he will go down as a very good president.
Just like Ron Kessler said at the top of the show, he's the next Ronald Reagan.
Callback.
So this is really interesting. It's almost like a hostage negotiator.
Yes.
The United States is the hostage negotiator. North Korea is the one with a bunch of people in the back room with the gun. And the U.S. is saying, no, just drop the gun. You'll be totally fine. Nothing bad is going to happen.
They're giving them that.
Let the people go. So the rest of the world, they're the hostages. But once North Korea gets rid of the gun,
sweet talking. Now
they're done.
Then comes the smoke grenade, and the people barrel in, and they're out of there. But this is, to her point, his strength. He out-crazied Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
I sat on this panel like 3 months ago and got screamed at. I won't name names because they were like, he's going to talk us off the nuclear cliff with this kind of big boy talk. But that's what dictators understand. Strength has gotten them.
But that's also what the left wanted.
Of course.
I mean, they wanted this to escalate into some horrific crisis so they can say
he's a
Hillary
crazy
should have
man.
been president.
Yeah, this madman. She never would have got us into this.
Even the market dipped down when North Korea, a little rocket man, and that was going. The market took a tumble.
Man. Hillary Clinton, would we be in this situation? Would North Korea be coming to the diplomatic table if she were president?
No, I don't think so. I was somebody who was absolutely against the way that he was talking to North Korea, and I can admit that it seems that it actually is sort of working here. And the drills also, he scaled them back a little bit from previous years, so that there were some changes made there, which might be why they're not reacting the way that they have reacted in the past. But I love it. I would love to not get blown up by North Korea. That's way more important to me than me being right.
How about
and that's not just because you have that adorable condo in Guam.
Right. I don't want to get that blown up.
You don't. That is because you are a lover of peace, and you're someone who wants to maintain humankind on this beautiful blue planet.
Absolutely.
Right?
And
yes.
never mind that North Korea could never pay Hillary speaking fees.
Oh.
She'd be like, listen, there's just one more thing, Kim. Before we sit down, I'm going to need about $500,000.
Oh, wow.
Kim Jong-un is a very big fan of pop culture, and Donald Trump with The Apprentice, as you know, represents the epitome of pop culture.
And he enjoyed a K-pop performance in Pyongyang.
He enjoyed that.
This weekend. He very much enjoyed it, and he's bringing Dennis Rodman, Madeline Albright, and the entire cast of Menudo to North Korea to celebrate once they denuclearize.
Love that reference.
So much greatness on the horizon. Thank you so much all for being here. Noelle, Jimmy, and Kat. Coming up, Democrats focused on the midterms. They're anticipating a so-called blue wave. What if the left takes the House? Is impeachment imminent? Richard Fowler weighs in. What do you think he's going to say? He'll tell me now.